This is now the second episode of Sunnyside News, and I'm once again Brady McLaren. And today we're going to be talking to Nicky Lewenson, who raises money for St Jude. She's an amazing guitar player, and she's ran quite a few marathons. Today we'll be diving in to talk to her about what her inspiration has been and why she chose to do the sunny side of life. This week's challenge is at the end of the video is to sign up for the St Jude Walk and Run, and you can raise money or you can just walk. We'll talk about this more with Nicky when we start, but we just want, that's your goal for this week, and by next week I want to hear about all of the different, how many miles you've got and if you've raised any money and how much. At the end of the video and in the description below, I will have the link so that you can sign up, get the printout kit and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about that more. All right, let's get going.
Hey Brady.
Hi.
I like your haircut.
Thank you.
It's awesome. How's it going?
Good.
How's everything? How's school life?
Good.
All right, I'm excited for your podcast. Thank you for having me on as a guest.
You're welcome.
You can.
All right, why don't you?
And I'll spread it around everywhere.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Okay. Well, my name is Nicky Lewenson. I have 2 kids, ages 12 and 7, and I head up business development for Team Champenosi at a guaranteed rate. And I also co-chair the St Jude Walk Run for 2020.
Okay, all right, let's get started. So the first question is, what was your childhood like?
That's a good question. I wasn't expecting it. I'm thrilled. So I grew up in Westchester County, New York, in a town just 20 minutes north of Manhattan. And both my parents were busy working people. My mom has a big career as a nurse historian and a professor, and my dad's a dentist. And I have one older sister who is 2 years older than me. And I had a really nice childhood. I went to sleepaway camp every summer, which was my favorite part of, everything, I think. I just absolutely loved it. I went to a little camp in Maine, Freiburg, Maine, and I look forward to it every summer. And during the year, I still have my same friends from when I was in nursery school that I hang out with now. So I've made lifelong friends there. And then I went to a small all-girls boarding school in Connecticut, Ethel Walker, and when I was 14, and I've been out and about ever since.
All right, let's start with St. Jude. How did you become connected with St. Jude?
So I have such a random St. Jude story. I'm beyond grateful to say I don't have a family connection or a patient connection there. I came to St. Jude because a friend of mine was involved with the St. Jude Gala in Boston, and I had really not been a very fit person, or athletic ever. And I had just started to kind of get fit and get into some different athletics after my second child was born. And someone convinced me to run a 10K, and I was like, 6 miles, it just seems crazy. But I did it, and then I trained for a half marathon, and then I was with my friend who's involved in St. Jude, and I said, I would love to run the Boston Marathon. And he said, well, I'm on the gala for St. Jude. We have one bib. It's not even really a Boston Marathon St. Jude bib. It's just like a Boston Marathon bib, but we'd love somebody to run for St. Jude with it. So I said, no problem. I would love that opportunity. And I started to learn about St. Jude, and really a fire was lit inside me about St. Jude. I knew, the picture of the logo of the child reading the book, and I knew that they helped kids with cancer, but I didn't realize that they were the only place on earth that no one ever receives a bill for treatment, housing, transportation while their child is being treated. I didn't know that it was unique, but they freely share their research with every other hospital. So one kid saved at St. Jude saves thousands of kids worldwide. And they're just such an amazing beacon of hope and change in the pediatric cancer world. So I got super inspired, and I raised $23,000 that year, with a lot of support from friends, family, my professional network, and then said, why do we only have one bib? Let's build a team.
Well, that's when you kind of already talked about, but what inspired you to fundraising?
So, I came to St. Jude because I wanted to run the Boston Marathon, and that sounds like such a strange way to like fall into such a soul mission. But what happened was I was really inspired by two things. One, by the work St. Jude's doing, and being a parent, to think of like my child needing treatment and for catastrophic disease or pediatric cancer is just heartbreaking and crushing. And then to think about the layer of there are these like rare parts of cancer, and not all cancers can be treated easily or successfully. And then also, even if they can be, not everybody has the resources to pay for it, or they might be able to pay for that, but then what do they do about housing? What do they do about their job? Like all these ripple factors of the economics around it just floored me and actually like gutted me. Like I couldn't even fathom the idea that St. Jude was so unique. And I felt that if they are so unique, they really need our help. So that's the first thing. The second thing that really inspired me to keep fundraising was all I did was put out the information about why St. Jude and asked for help. And what happened was so many people raised their hand to help, sending in donations, spreading good cheer, supporting me, and supporting the mission for the kids at St. Jude. And I felt like so good about my community. I just felt so proud of everybody and so inspired by like all these other people I knew. And it was like people coming out of the woodwork from my childhood, from, college, partners I work with, random neighbors. And I felt that it made everyone feel good. So it gave a way for people to help in such a hopeless feeling situation. And St. Jude's really changed the cancer survivor rate from 20% to 80% since inception. They've helped change it. And so I felt like if we all get behind this and keep doing this work to support the hospital, will they get to 100%? Maybe.
What made you run the marathon?
So I will say I ran the marathon for the first time from kind of, I don't actually know. Like I had never been like a kid that was like, I want to run a marathon one day. I had only seen the Boston Marathon like one time, and it was just because I happened to be like passing by while it was happening. I did feel like it was really inspiring, but I more kind of had the thought of like, those people are insane. That's super good for them, but like not interested. But after Pearl was born and I started to do some physical activities, I got really into CrossFit, as you know, and started to just run. What happened was like, it started to mentally be like a challenge. Like I never thought I'd be able to run that 10K, the 6 miles, right? And then I did it and I felt so good and so satisfied. So I was like, well, what else can I do if I put my mind to it? And the thing that's so great about running is that you really don't need skill. It's just one foot in front of the other. So where I didn't grow up an athletic kid, I played some sports in high school and stuff like that. I was always JV, never on a winning team. But what I did like about running is that really anyone can do it, and you can do it anywhere. Not anyone. I'm very fortunate that I have the good health to do it. However, all I needed to do a run was walk out my door. And so when I had a super busy life with 2 little kids working full time, and all the other factors that happen in life, I felt like running was a really simple thing. And the satisfaction of being able to set my mind to a goal and then actually follow through with it and do it was so satisfying that it seemed to me that Boston. And then to be able to do it for a greater mission is really what fueled me. I loved the satisfaction of being able to do something great that made me feel really good, but also could help so many people. And I'm not a doctor or a nurse, so my chances of helping people who are dealing with cancer in their family, it's my best bet is to fundraise and to help the doctors and nurses.
Did you feel like you changed the person when you started running for St. Jude and just donating and getting involved?
Yeah, So, St. Jude's been really interesting for me in a lot of ways. Like, one, I really believe in their mission, and I believe that what they're doing is changing the world and changing the path for families who are dealing with cancer in their children. And also, I feel that St. Jude has changed a lot of other great things and made a lot of other great changes, I should say. I mean, they are in the heart of the South, and they hired a Black architect to build the hospital when that was not common at all. And they've done a lot of things to help race relations, as far as, they wouldn't let people, they didn't, if a hotel, and I'm like not going to get this proper necessarily 100% correct, but like if a hotel wasn't open to everyone, they said that's not the hotel for us. Like, they really believe that everybody who needs treatment, housing, or transportation should have access and equal access. So they've done a lot of good stuff there, but they've also, really changed the way people get treatment. And it's because Danny Thomas didn't have a lot of money. He's the founder. When his wife was having a baby, and he never wanted anyone to go through that struggle. He had a sister, I think it was a sister that passed away from a disease, and he didn't want anyone to have financial struggle and mean that they couldn't have medical treatment. So the way it's changed me is that it's given me an ability to help and give back and be of service, where, in my regular life, I'm of service to my children, hopefully, I'm of service at work, but to do something for what I believe to be the greater good is made me feel really satisfied, I guess, and successful in a different way. And it's, not always perfect, and it's often a lot of bloopers and missteps, but overall, having St. Jude is like the common theme of something I'm doing all year long for the past 7 years has always given me a bright spot to touch on, no matter what else is going on in my life.
How are you going to change the walk during the pandemic and not be able to go to the Boston Common like you usually do?
So I'm super excited. So Monday we're announcing, we're doing 2 webinars, one at 9 a.m. and one at 2 p.m. to roll out the reimagined walk. And I think this is the opportunity of a lifetime to change how we've been doing the walk for all these years. Now, the walk has always been a very special day to me, special day to you. We've gotten a lot of opportunity to partner up on it, which I really appreciate. But one thing is that the walk has always been really limited. Like, if you're not able to be at the Boston Common at 8 a.m. on a specific Saturday morning in September, it means that you're not able to physically participate. You might still be able to donate, you might be able to spread good cheer and share someone's message, but you're not able to fully have the experience of being a part of the walk like you and I are. And so what I love about this year is that, pediatric cancer, unfortunately, is not canceled. I don't love that. That's miserable, right? But the walk doesn't need to be canceled either. And, there's no way St. Jude needs us any less right now than they've ever needed us. They actually need us more than ever. And the way we've reimagined the walk is that, and I'll just give you a sneak preview to it, is that we're rolling out an experience where there's $1 million mission. So Danny Thomas, the founder, as we talked about just before, he always said he'd rather have $1 from 1 million people than $1 million check from one person, because that means 1 million people are thinking about St. Jude. And what's really interesting about St. Jude, and I know you know this fact, Brady, but like the average donation is $35. So maybe it's 37 now. So it's not this massive amount of money, but it's a good amount of money for people. And it's smaller than what a lot of people anticipate the average donation being. And that means like so many people across the country and the world are already donating $35 to St. Jude. Now, if we get way more involvement, that's a lot more $35, $37 donations. And that makes a huge impact. So the way we're rolling out the walk is that when somebody registers for the walk, and we've waived all registration fees this year, so it costs nothing to register. You can just sign up, which is great. And I like that too, because that's like the St. Jude access that it should be, right? Really along the lines of St. Jude mission of no one receiving a bill. And once you sign up, you get a mission link. Now, the mission link is a master link for all the different things that are going to be associated with the walk this year. On it, you'll see the first thing is to register for the walk. The second link is to join our Strava group. So Strava is a free app that people can use. They're going to go ahead and register and join the St. Jude Walk Run club on Strava. And then they're going to start logging miles. So every time you go out and walk in your neighborhood, it's going to be part of your St. Jude walk. To make it easier to fundraise, to give people incentive, to get people excited and to raise awareness, the next link is a printable kit. So when you go ahead and download that printable kit, what you're going to get is different race bibs to wear on different days between now and September 26th. You know, they're funny. They're like, one of them says like, I'm winning. One of them says like, cheer for me. So like your neighbors know what you're doing. You're also going to get patient high fives and high fives that you can put up around your house. So we're going to like bring the crowd to you. So you'll print it out and put it up on your wall. And every time you walk out the door, you'll get a high five from a patient. They're going to have different mile markers in it. So when you hit the 5-mile mark, the 10-mile mark, the 15-mile mark, all the way on to 100 miles. I mean, that's amazing. We can all walk 100 miles for St. Jude this year. You'll get a picture. Here, I'm going to lower this down. I wish I had one with me. A printout that says, I've walked 20 miles for the kids at St. Jude. And it's going to have a mission moment, a fact about St. Jude that somebody may or may not know already. And then you can post your link with it, inviting people to be involved and also inviting people in to donate whatever amount that they're comfortable with. No amount too little and definitely no amount too big either. The final thing in the printable kit, there's 2 other things. There's a kids activity. So there's an elephant that everyone can color in, which is a signature rite of passage. When a celebrity visits St. Jude, they get to color in this elephant. They're all displayed along the walls of this one residence at St. Jude. There's elephants colored in from like Oprah Winfrey and Tiger Woods and a million different people, and it's super exciting. So we can all be a celebrity and color in our elephant and get that up. And then also you're going to get a St. Jude Walk Run habit tracker. So it will remind you, you know, post 2 times on Facebook, you know, this week, and you put a check in the box. Walk 5 times this week, you put a check in the box. So that's the main way for our participants that it's going to change. And then for sponsorship, we're changing that as well.
Let's talk a little bit about the marathon. How many marathons have you ran?
So I have run 5 marathons, and then I was scheduled to run this year for St. Jude for Boston, and it got moved to September 14th. So we'll see if it happens or not.
What is the training like?
So I absolutely love the marathon training process, and I do it completely different than most people. I mean, I don't follow a run 5 times or 4 times a week schedule. What I typically do is I spend 4 days a week doing strength training, and then I do the long run on the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, whatever day is more convenient for my family, my health, and everything. So what it looks like is, and it's looked a few different over some of the marathons, but it's usually like 2 or 3 days of CrossFit. If I can't get to CrossFit, I'll do walking lunges, squats, small run, like a mile or whatever. As much strength training as I can do to get my body strong and to get my joints in good spot working order and not overworked. And then I just follow a very simple mileage increase between the day of starting. And I ramp up to like 8 miles, and it goes like 8, 10, 12, 10, 14, 12, on and on. I do 1 20-mile run, and then I taper for 2 weeks, and then I run the marathon.
How much do you have to raise, and how much do you usually raise for St. Jude when you run the marathon?
So for the marathon, I think the minimum for a bib this year is $10,000. I've raised, what I've done always is get other participation and help. So, and like just try to be creative, and like we're reimagining the walk this year, like reimagining how we do how we fundraise for the marathon. I always try to keep it a little bit fresh, pull other people in from my network and community to help. You know, it's always more fun as a team effort and always more successful as a team effort, in my opinion. and no reason to go it alone. I mean, we're all in this together. So the first year I raised $23,000 and I had help from my friend who got the bib for me. He fundraised with me. The next year I convinced that friend to run with me. He's not a runner, like neither was I, but he's really not a runner. And with him running with me, we raised $67,000 with our 2 bibs. And St. Jude also got additional bibs because now we were able to show John Hancock that like there was a give in Boston for the marathon that people wanted to give to St. Jude. And then the next year I ran, and I had the guy I work with, Sean, who I work directly with, I had him fundraise with me, and we raised over $60,000 as well. So each year for the marathon, it's increased. And then now my fundraising is always directed toward the walk. So even though I'm running the marathon, this year, all my fundraising efforts still feed right into the St. Jude Walk. That's my goal, to raise $750,000 for the walk this year in total. $4 million.
What's the commitment
Financial or physical?
like? Physical.
Physical. So the commitment for me is that, there's like a few parts to it. One is that I'm going to commit a certain amount of time to take care of my body, to train so that I don't injure myself, or I do everything I can to prevent injury. There's like some things that like you just can't help and they happen. However, I know if I'm eating properly, which I really have to dial in my nutrition around all my training and try to keep it going all year long. But, especially when I'm training for a marathon, I try to make sure I'm eating enough, I'm eating the right things that work for my body. So the commitment is to like my nutrition, hydration, which is like for some reason so simple yet so hard. And I drink 70 ounces of water a day. Here's my water bottle. You might recognize this, Brady. And I also commit to my workouts. So I don't want to, I'm the type of person that like, I will worry about not being able to do it if I don't put in the work. I mean, which makes sense, right? But I do also believe that if I put in the work, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, whatever I've decided my plan is for that marathon, then I do not let myself worry about it. Like, I know, like I can look at my evidence, right? Like I've done, 200 walking lunges a day, 3 times a week, and I've done my long runs. I will not worry about if I'm going to complete the marathon or not, because I know I'm doing all the work I need to do to get to my end result and goal. And then I can kind of let the results up in the air. Who knows what will happen on race day, but I do know that I've done all the work I needed to do to get to that point and feel really prepared mentally. And then the last part of my commitment, so nutrition, hydration, physical, is like my mental preparation, like I'm talking about, like I keep notes and I keep a habit tracker on like what I'm doing daily so that mentally I feel prepared and I feel inspired and excited. I think about, before I run, every run, I think about the kids at St. Jude. I think about you. I think about your mom and all the people that have helped all this time. And I draw on all that energy every time I get tired or where I'm like, I don't feel like running today. Well, I've asked a lot from people to support St. Jude, the community, and everything. So this is like my give back to honor what everybody else has given. And it keeps me super motivated and inspired. So my mental preparation is just as important. I do a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, and a lot of gratitude lists. Like all the good things in my life, like, okay, I can go out and run a little or do walking lunges, which is like so bizarrely boring, but really good for you.
Why so many marathons? Why not just like 1 and be done with it? Why if you chose to run 5?
I really like it. I love the feeling of setting any goal and getting there. And a marathon is just such a solid goal. It's like, it's very tangible. It's like you do the training, you lay out the plan, you do the mental work, the physical work, the hydration, the food, all that. And then you have this day where you get to cross that goal, like achieve it. And there's something about it like that is very, very satisfying to me in the process of getting there. And then there's also something about it of like day of that, like, I love that feeling of not being being a little scared, being excited, like not sure I can do it, at the start, and then doing like the start of the training, and then doing all that work, and then getting there race day. And the marathon is always a victory lap. Like I've said that before, the fundraising is the work, the training is the work, all that. When you get to the marathon, when you stand at that starting line, and you get to just go and run and honor the kids at St. Jude and honor everybody that's helped you get there, and think about all these like beautiful things that have gotten you to this moment, and this like 4 hours and 20 minutes or 3 hours and 48 minutes, whatever it takes, 5 hours, it doesn't matter. When you get to do that, it's like the true celebration. So I just love it. But there's been other good goals too. It doesn't need to be a marathon. The walk is unbelievably satisfying in my opinion.
How has running helped you?
So I would say running has showed me, it's helped me in a lot of ways physically, I think, but it's showed me mentally. And I think this is far more important than any of the physical, is it's showed me that I'm able to do something I set my mind to, and that I'm able to keep my word to myself. So when you think about it, if I were to tell you, Brady, I'm going to meet you at 10 a.m. for your podcast, and I'm so excited about it, there is no way I'm missing that, right? Like, there's no way. Like, there's no way I'm like, this, like, not show up for you. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you. Like, this is the first one. There's no way I'd miss it. But what I had found in the past was I was willing often to break commitments to myself. Like I would say I'm going to go for a run, or I'm going to go do this thing, or I had an idea and I wouldn't follow through on it. And I would disappoint myself all the time with, and I think it's just human nature. It's like other stuff comes up and you're like, oh, it's just me. Like, I'm not going to do it. What running has shown me is that I will make a commitment to myself, and I can trust myself that I will honor that commitment to myself and show up for myself as well. Not just other people, but that my health, my mental state, my physical and mental goals are important, and I will honor them by showing up for them.
How did the first marathon go?
Oh, it was so exciting. I was actually just looking at pictures because I'm putting together something for St. Jude, and I was so scared. Now I can say, well, like I have all this experience of like having eaten well, hydrated, doing millions of walking lunges and running once a week, and it works. Like I know it works because I have practice with it working. The first time I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work. I hoped it would work. And so I was really nervous. I didn't want to disappoint myself. I didn't want to disappoint people. I didn't know what the weather was going to be like. The Boston Marathon is totally like you get there early in the morning and then you wait for hours, and like I didn't know what to expect. But all of that wondering and like fear was really more excitement, I would say. And I remember running and seeing people I knew along the course and being super excited. I remember seeing Georgia at mile 20, and like, the best thing in the world was to see my kids out there cheering for me. And then I remember finishing and just being amazed that I actually did it, and amazed that everyone came along for the ride with me to fundraise. And I was so proud to have the community I have. I just felt like I am surrounded by the best people on the planet.
How did your most recent marathon go?
My most recent marathon was amazing, and it was totally different. So I had always thought about running the Big Sur Marathon in California because I had seen a runner's book or a magazine, and it had a picture of somebody running across Bixby Bridge, which is this iconic bridge on the coast of California. And I had never been there. And so I had said when I saw that picture, like, I want to run on that bridge one day. And so I hadn't really thought that I would do it because I would have to fly there and I'd have to like figure that out and logistics and, Boston Marathon, even though you have to get there early in the morning and you wait, like it's just 40 minutes away from my house. Like it's really easy. And so I kind of shelved it for a little. And then I was out with some friends one day on a run, and they live in San Francisco, and they said that they wanted to run a marathon. And I was like, oh, you should run the Big Sur Marathon. It's like 2 hours from your house. It's like so exciting. I've always wanted to do it. And they said, well, why don't you do it? So I signed up for it, and I trained, it's a week after Boston. I didn't run Boston last year, so I trained though pretty much the Boston schedule. So you're like training all winter, right? It's freezing. And I remember getting on a plane, flying to California. My boyfriend picked me up and drove me down to Monterey. We stayed overnight there, and I got on a bus at like 3 a.m. to go to the starting line. And I was so excited. I mean, I had seriously pictured running across that bridge on like every run I had done leading up to it. And I felt so proud that I actually was pulling it off, and that so many people helped me pull it off. And then I got there and I started to run. And I have to tell you, I was very nervous. The elevation is it's very, very hilly. It's like 4 times hillier than Boston. But I will also say the scenery is so gorgeous that you don't even notice the hills. I mean, I noticed the hills, but like I didn't care. It was stunning. I felt so proud, and I felt so excited to do it and to honor the kids at St. Jude that way.
Did you see a difference between your first marathon and then your most recent marathon?
Yeah, I think the difference is mostly mental. I'm not afraid at this. I mean, I get like butterflies, and excited, but I'm not. I don't feel this pressure on me. I feel like whatever's going to happen that day is going to happen that day. I put in the work. I did my training. The rest is like, up to God. I'm just not even going to sweat it, and I'm going to go out there, enjoy myself, and have a good time. When I was on the bus to the starting line, this man asked me, he said, so what's your goal? And he meant like a time goal for the marathon. And I said 200 photos because I just wanted to enjoy it. So I think mentally I've just really relaxed about it, in the sense of like, I still get nervous, like, of course, like, am I going to be able to do it? But at the same time, I always go to like what the worst case scenario would be. Okay, the worst case scenario is that like I can't, and I like get hurt, or I really don't feel good. All right, like that's still not the worst thing in the world. I still got all that training in. I got all that good cheer, and I got to raise a ton of awareness for St. Jude, and I'm still there. So like I've already won.
How do you feel like standing on the starting line right before you're about to start?
So I feel nervous and excited, and I think that nervousness is just another way to feel excitement. For Big Sur, I would say way more excited than nervous. That's how it like resonated with me, because I couldn't believe I was there. And I think that like, I can't believe I'm here. Like me, like unathletic me is here on the starting line. Like that usually feels really good to me. But also, just excited to like go into it and actually be in the moment that I've been thinking about for so long and training for so long, and like not needing to worry about tomorrow. Like all I have in front of me is like the next step, the next half hour, the next hour, and getting, to mile 3, then 5. And I have like a whole mental trick I do while I'm running so that it never feels like too much. And even when I'm tired, I just like play these mental games. Like I only have a, 10K left. I've done a 10K before. I only have a 5K left. I've done a 5K before. Like when I get to the half marathon mark, I'm like, already halfway done. Now I just have a half marathon, which sounds crazy when I just say it out loud, only a half marathon. But by that point in your training, you're running such larger miles on the weekend that 13 miles at that point doesn't sound as crazy.
So you've learned to play guitar, and you've been FaceTiming your friends and playing guitar and doing like sing-alongs. Why did you start doing sing-alongs and stuff like that?
So I started to play the guitar because a few things. One, I read a book that talked about if you practice anything, like your brain rewires to be able to make it muscle memory. I'm trying to think what the name of the book is. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I'll email it to you. But anyway, it was like some book I had read. And so I had just read this book, right? So it was fresh in my mind. And then Georgia, my 12-year-old, went to sleepaway camp for 2 weeks at the time. This was like 4 years ago. And so I like was having trouble sleeping. So I was like worried. I don't know why. I loved sleepaway camp, as I said earlier, but like I was so worried about her being away. And so I was having trouble sleeping. And it was another one of those challenges where I'm like, can I commit to something for 20 minutes a day? So those three things made like the perfect storm. And there happened to be like a random guitar in my house. Like no one played the guitar, but someone had a guitar. So I picked up the guitar and I decided I would practice 20 minutes a day. And then when Georgia came back from sleepaway camp, I would be able to play her a song. So like I had like 2 weeks, right? Like just be able to get these chords down. And it was a simple song. And then I also, once I did that, I wanted to show the girls that you could learn anything at any age with just 20 minutes a day of practice. And really just the idea behind that is like making a decision to commit to something and learning it even when you suck, excuse my language, but like even when you're not good at it. So, I mean, it's brutal to listen to somebody learn a musical instrument. And they were not too thrilled about this new mission I had to like learn how to play the guitar. However, I'm super proud that 4 years later, like I can totally play. Like I'm not the best guitar player in the world. I probably won't ever be. That's fine. My singing has not improved, as you know, Brady. But it feels really good to me to be able to pick up my guitar and play a song and have my kids sing with me. Georgia sings with me, on occasion. And it always is like, it's so beautiful to me that it like breaks my heart wide open. And I love to play with my friends. And then during COVID, when we were trying to figure out how to bring people joy and goodness while they're home sheltering, we decided to offer a sing-along hour for the business I work with, for all of our clients' children. So they could like put their kids in front of a Zoom for, half an hour or an hour and be entertained. And they can like, take a shower, make a meal, get some work done, whatever it is people needed to do. So that's how we started doing the sing-alongs. And it, it's fizzled a little, I will say, but, as things start to get back to a new normal. However, it was really exciting to me to do it because here's this skill that like I kind of was shy about. I mean, you wouldn't know I'm shy about it because like I'll play for you and your mom any day. I have no shame there. However, to go and put myself out there like that when I'm, mediocre guitar player, but super proud.
How's it inspired you?
The guitar?
Yeah.
Same way the marathon has, and same way the marathon has, I would say. So it's just a matter of setting a goal and then looking at all the little habits that get you there and being willing to stick to them to see my way through to that goal. So like I'm inspired by the fact that I had something like a wish on my heart, and that sounds pretty corny, but like I had a wish, like to play the guitar, like my mom actually plays the guitar. I might be better than her at this point. I don't know. But, so when I was a little kid at our birthday parties, she would like take out her guitar and play. And she even actually like wore like a clown outfit. So like, God bless her heart. But, I always wanted to be like able to like grab the guitar and have a sing along with my kids. And I loved summer camp. So I loved sing alongs. And, I wanted to be able to make music and, no matter how bad it was, like, I don't care. And it felt good to me. So I put that wish out in paper and then I broke down the habits to get there and just stuck to them and made that commitment to myself. Like no matter how many people complain about me playing the guitar, no matter how many people like roll their eyes and say, oh my God, are you playing like, don't think twice, it's all right again, one more time, or country roads take me home one more time, like, can't you learn something new? Like when I'm practicing new chords or whatever. Like it didn't matter. I just wanted to be able to play. And I wasn't trying to like learn how to play a song. I wanted to be able to play the guitar. And so that's why I keep practicing.
What is one thing that you want people to know about you? Like if you were to pick one thing that you want everyone to know about you, what would you pick?
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't I think that I'm really trying my hardest. Like, I want to be of service to this world. I want to be a good mom. I want to be a really good worker at my job. Like, I deeply care about my job and our clients and the team I work on. And I really care about St. Jude and a lot of other charities as well. I think that I want people to know that I am, no matter how it looks, no matter how many times I fall down or have like a blooper fundraiser or, you know, I'm out there asking for help, if people want to give it or not. Like, I don't care what other people do in that regard. Like, I'm always just out there trying to do the best I can. And it does not always look pretty. It does not always look perfect. It often looks a little nutty or reimagined, but I'm gonna just keep on trying because I believe that we can all do really great things together, and I really want to be a part of it.
What pushed you from being ordinary to being extraordinary?
That is such a nice question. Well, I don't know that I'm extraordinary, but I do know that I've been given a lot of gifts in life, and a lot of chances and opportunities to, you know, make changes. And I think that the best lesson I have learned is that every day is a new day. You can start your day over at any hour you want, any minute you want. Like, it can start off as a crappy day, and you can we have a reset button in our house. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a button and it says reset on it. So like, when you're grumpy or angry or fragile or not patient or any of those things, like, we push the button, and like Pearl will be like, push the reset button. But learning how to start over and then start over again and then start over again, and not being willing to give up on living a good life, living a life of service, helping other people, feeling good about yourself, I think has been like a really big gift for me. And that it helps me care less about what the world thinks of what I'm trying to do, and helps me to push forward to honor what I believe.
Why the sunny side? Why did you choose to be so positive and do all these great things?
Wait, sorry, I missed that question.
Why the sunny side of life? Why did you choose to be so positive and run a marathon, do all these good things, and what pushed you to?
Yeah, I love that question, and I really want to invite everybody to come to the bright side with us, Brady. Right? I don't know exactly why, when that shifted for me in my life. And I did not always have an easy go, and I still don't always have an easy go. I mean, I've had a lot of hurdles to overcome in my life, but I do believe that I have strong faith that if we try to do the right thing, or what we believe to be the right thing at the time, then things will work out. And by working out, I don't mean they're going to go my way. I don't mean that people aren't going to get sick and that people aren't going, tragedy's not going to happen. But I do believe that we'll be able to find the blessing in it, or find a way to make things better from it. And if we choose, and it's a choice, right, to look for the good and to live on the bright side, if we choose to always try to find that bright side, then it's everywhere. And things aren't gonna, this right now with that everyone home sheltering and Corona and a lot of people dying, we just hit 100,000 people in our country have died from this. I mean, it's a tragedy. It's a tragic situation. People are out of jobs. Small businesses are massively impacted, and it's really, really horrifying what's going on. However, what can we look for in these moments to come together, to be the bright spot for other people? I mean, we can sit in all of that horror, or we can look for the good. And I always feel better looking for the good. I think that positive thoughts and positive actions, and really more positive actions lead to positive thoughts and lead to the things. And the walk, I will not say the walk is canceled, because it's not. We just needed to reimagine it. And I think that these are the opportunities in tragedy and tough moments and hardship and all of these things, is when we get to reimagine what our future looks like. And it's often not what we planned. Like, I did not plan to run 5 marathons. I didn't plan to learn to fit in the car, and I always kind of wanted to, but like, I didn't plan to, be business development for a mortgage company, like, or fundraise for St. Jude as like a massive commitment of mine. But I will say, because I was open to opportunities and always looking for an opportunity and the good, like, these things happen. And I'm really grateful for that. And I have strong faith that, like, in some power greater than ourselves, that things are going to be okay. And I'm just going to hold tight to that. Whether it's real or not, whether I'm right or not, it doesn't really matter. It makes me feel better and helps me act better as a person.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I hope I did okay.
All right, well, thank you. And for letting me interview you and sharing your story and what you've done. And yeah.
Thank you, Brady. You are such a bright spot in this world, and the work you do is incredible. So thank you. Thank you.